you tell about your experience with regards to introduction of these systems? Marika, unfortunately, your mic is switched off.
Jā, jā. Tātad, labdien vēlreiz. Jā.
Hello again.
Tātad, esmu Marika Lapiņa.
Marika Latvija, the Human Resources Manager of DPD Latvia. And before I share our experience, I would like to express my thanks to the organizers for putting this topic in the spotlight, because I'm very happy that we have these discussions, that we have a forum for discussion and exchange of information to improve awareness of the whistleblowing, what it means and what it covers. But returning to DPD, we are just at the beginning of this process. For us, whistleblowing is something that we know about for a year, since 2019, when we introduced the internal whistleblowing system. And it is clear that we have lots of room for improvement, but at the same time, the whistleblowing, I think, is like the final solution when no other solution works, when all the other efforts have been in vain. And in our company, we have had long-standing traditions and mechanisms to promote communication, mutual trust. We have employee fora. We have discussions about how important communication is. And I agree to a lot of what was said by previous speakers, namely by Sergejus from Lithuania, who spoke about the environment of trust and communication, because that is the ultimate purpose. Because whistleblowing gives you a sense of security that if something doesn't work out, you will be protected. It is guaranteed. And the law also protects whistleblowers. But this is not an end to itself. Namely that we have to increase the number of such reports. So far, we have not received any reports, but I would like to think that this is because we focus on communication on a daily basis. Of course, this forum gives an anonymous opportunity to speak up, but we try to react even to the slightest signal about something being wrong. And that's why a whistleblowing system is like a final solution that can be used if nothing else works. So this can be considered, for example, when day-to-day communication and cooperation has not really worked. Also, listening to previous speakers, I can reiterate and agree about the importance of training, especially with what Mr. Evertson said from Riga City Council. Now, we haven't had reports yet, so we haven't really gone through this process. We haven't completed it, so we really have to think how we will protect, how we'll ensure that the identity is not disclosed. So in our case, everything is theoretical. In a way, it's good. But on the other hand, in this case, we maybe should learn from other experiences, how people have felt on both sides about the whistleblower. And I believe that we'll have more and more opportunities to hear about such cases, success stories, when the situation has been solved and violations have been remedied, prevented because of whistleblowers. But also, during the process, it is very important that on both sides, the contact persons and channels would have very good, excellent understanding of whistleblowing on how to solve such cases, how to provide feedback. I think that is very important. We are at the beginning, just at the beginning of this process, but I think it's always topical, and it's a topic that is always needed, topical communication, trust, and so on. I think that the whistleblowing law is a national effort to create or to make the environment, the business environment, much more ethical. I think it's a positive, very positive development. I think it's a very positive law, and also the fact that the internal whistleblowing system is laid down there. But maybe I will repeat myself, but I think that communication and trust is at the basis of this ethical environment. Thank you.
Tagad lūkšu Ines Kušķi no
And
Valsts
now
kanclera.
I would like Ines Kušķe from the State Chancellery to tell about experience in the State Chancellery. Hello, colleagues. Really very interesting presentations, and I believe that those of us who work in the public institutions, we have chance to learn both from the experience from the municipalities and also from the entrepreneurs. And I think it is very important to conclude that internal whistleblowing system and creation of it is a task both for public and municipality institutions and also a task for the private sector. Approach is quite similar, like it was said, and we can learn from each other. And in the EU directive which we have to transpose, about whistleblowing, this requirement is repeated once more, so we have to determine specific procedures for internal reporting and measures taken, and it refers both for the private and also state and municipality institutions. So it is great that in Latvia we have started activities in this area already. It was interesting to hear when I reflect about two previous presentations, it was interesting to hear how important it is to have a clear internal procedure. It's not enough with just having the law, but the law wouldn't work without those internal measures. So we have to make the system clear which channels work for employees, who is responsible, and that wouldn't function without the system wouldn't function without these channels. And I was happy to hear about the Riga City Council that in this central point there are 7 acknowledged whistleblowing reports this year, and they are examined and the further measures are taken. I also liked a presentation from Swedbank that emphasis was on the attitude of the management and internal culture and whistleblowing as a part on activities and efforts to have more honest, more integrity and more ethical environment, and also to make sure that employees trust this internal mechanism. So this is a key word, trust, so that employees would feel safe to report. And this is a big decision actually, to raise up this issue that there is some problem, and it is very important for us to trust those to whom we submit this application, that they would not reveal our identity. As to the State Chancellery, similar to other institutions, we also developed internal system in May 2019. Our internal system is determined by our internal regulations, and we also have developed reporting channels, which are both digital and physical. And also in the institutions, we have 3 nice letter boxes, and they are inviting for people to put in their reports. Also, employee can come and submit this report to responsible person or send it via email, trauksme.mk gov.lv. Also, externally, to receive, if we receive external reports or internal, we all examine them under the same scheme. Responsible person, it's me and also my colleague who presented yesterday. Also, before submitting application or submission, we can provide consultations to the employees. And as I said, we are contact persons also for external reports. It is very important to inform employees about the system. We have done it in our internal network. We have a specific chapter. There is an informative material developed, which is freely available. And just in short and clear way, it's explained how you can consult, how you can get a consultation, and also what is protection, and that repressions and retaliation against those who are whistleblowing is not accepted in our company. Also, there is an information what to do if there are unfavorable consequences after submitting an application. We have also a question from the viewers. So what is your experience about with people who are just starting to work for you? So when do you acknowledge the whistleblower as a whistleblower for those who start working? So the law gives an opportunity to report about violations which are noticed also during the establishment of working relationship. It is because if there is a competition for a certain post, it takes quite a long time, or if you apply when you read an advertisement, already during this process you can become suspicious about some kind of violation. Maybe it's related to this process of selection. Therefore, the whistleblowing law encompasses those situations. It's the same also with whistleblowing directive. The same also refers when you are leaving this work. It's not specifically written in the law, but there is such a possibility. So the idea of the whistleblowing law and directive is to ensure as wide as possible possibilities to report about violations encountered at the working place. So it includes the very beginning when you submit an application for a post, or when you have stopped working for the company and finally you feel safe and you start talking. Yes, Marika, maybe you in practice didn't have such cases, but do you have first thoughts? So do you have some ideas what you would do if the person who has just applied for a job sends a whistleblower's report? Yeah, I didn't have such an experience. We haven't had, but for a whistleblower, before they make a decision to do it, to file a report, it's very important for this person. It's important for them to read the documents available on the company's webpage. For example, code of ethics, or ideally also information about whistleblowing system existing in the company. And if this individual is concerned that he has noticed some kind of violations, or he intentionally wants to pay attention to that, then he has to take care that he is prepared and he knows the situation, because in the process of selection, the key is transparency and also the procedure, that we stick to the selection criteria and so on. But then there is a question, so what kind of violation have you noticed? Is it during the process of selection, or this applicant suddenly sees something what he considers worth to report about. So it just depends on the practice and experience. But I believe that always the person has to be prepared. Where I am turning to research as much as possible, because most of us, and also we are sending out as much as possible information through the homepage. So there is in our homepage both the code of ethics, and also we have information about whistleblowing system, so the person can come already prepared. But on the other side, I don't think this has to be something we should only focus on that, because like I said, this whistleblowing is like last effort how to solve the situation. There are so many other ways how to draw attention, how to speak about something, how to make some notes and to speak to people. And already in the process of selection, we are trying to have open and strong relationship, and then it's in line with our values. So we are not trying to focus just on this the fact that somebody would find something wrong somewhere. We are not thinking in this categories, and we are usually trying to work in good faith and with integrity. And if somebody sees that there is something wrong, we are saying, please don't be indifferent, because the whistleblowing is about not being indifferent. Speak up, like this campaign. In the campaign, there were 3 words, so see, hear, and speak up. So you have to be responsible, you have to speak, and this is responsibility of any employee and also the citizen. So don't be indifferent. If you want to have a better life, better circumstances, better working environment, then be involved, come up with your observations, and don't be indifferent. And whistleblowing, I consider this is already about very, very serious violations, like a last effort when there is no other solutions. Thank you. Yes, whistleblower is somebody who wants to draw attention to some unjust activity, and he shouldn't be indifferent. And of course, this person is worried about his personal safety and what happens later. That's why we also have anonymous reports. So Ines, can you comment about those? Yes, in a couple of words, I wanted to speak about regulation referring anonymous reports, because as we saw with Swedbank experience, they have emphasis on anonymous reports, and they have a special platform to receive anonymous reports. So I wanted to draw your attention to the fact that according to the whistleblowers law, the report is submitted according to the submission law, Article 3. In submission law, Article 3, it is said that in the report there should be information about person's name, surname, and also address, and if necessary, other information about themselves. In the whistleblowing form, it is also reiterated that the person has to write down name and surname. In the beginning, we also had the personal identity number, which had to be provided, but now we have deleted that. And also the contact information of person, so that we can give the feedback. So, from what was said before, on anonymous reporting, according to the law, whistleblowing law, is not possible. And in the EU directive, it is similar. We don't need to change our regulation, because directive allows member states to act freely about this opportunity to report anonymously. At the same time, in the directive, it's written, if the state doesn't allow for anonymous reporting, if the person has reported anonymously about some violations mentioned in the directive, this person has to receive protection if this person is identified and is suffering some repression, so retaliation. So that's why I'm asking the private sector to take it into the consideration, and in their systems you have to plan for this requirement so that you are able to distinguish reports which are anonymous, and we urge you to continue welcoming them, but it's just important to distinguish that in the law and in the directive, this is not stipulated by the law or the directive. Thank you. Okay, when the person understands that he wants to report, he is worried what's going to happen in the future, and also not sure that this protection is going to be fully fledged. So please, can you share what are the questions that possible potential whistleblowers are asking before they submit reports? I must say that we have not educated our employees to this topic, but I would like to turn it on the other side. So we are encouraging our employees to report about anything. We are not limiting them to some severe violations, but just on a daily level, we are encouraging them to be alert and to observe the signals and to do everything possible not to get to very severe situations. And also, when we are telling the first time about the whistleblowing to the employee, we put a big emphasis on the fact that this is not an anonymous report, that this is an open report, so that we know whom we should protect, and that we need to pay special attention, and we encourage people that there won't be any retaliation that if the person speaks about the problem, not only in case of whistleblowing, but also on a daily level, because we don't have so much experience with whistleblowing, but on a daily level we are encouraging people, and we give guarantees, and in any conversation we are emphasizing that, and we also say thank you to people. And next week we are going another forum where employees can have a chance to ask questions anonymously to our management. This is our internal tradition, and also through this channel we are solving issues, and if there are some things, we solve them. So there are different situations, management questions, personnel management questions, and human resources, and working environment issues, and so on. And people are trusting the system and trusting what we are saying. But specifically with whistleblowing, we don't have so much experience. Great, Marika and Ines, about putting emphasis how the